In my years being involved with the culture of Western animation, there are only two shows with an overarching narrative that stand out above the rest for being, in my opinion, near perfect from beginning to end. Avatar: The Last Airbender, and as the title implies, Gravity Falls. A passion project born from a former Cartoon Network storyboard artist with a surprisingly unique comedic edge, and the luck of being noticed by a Disney executive of all things, resulting in what many consider the best show the Disney networks have ever put out. However, there is no such thing as perfection. No matter how much we don't want to admit it, every show has that chunk where the general consensus is to disregard it as much as humanly possible. For Avatar fans, that title should go to The Great Divide, pretty much anything in live action, and most of The Legend of Korra. I said what I said. For Gravity Falls fans, that title goes to Roadside Attraction, which I've already talked about before, because I genuinely believe there's another episode that is a lot more worthy of this infamy. So today, I'm taking a closer look at what most consider, funnily enough, the second worst episode in the series, The Love God. As I've said in the past, I don't believe there's necessarily been a bad episode in this franchise. But I just can't shake off the hunch that this opinion might change if I rewatch this episode one more time. So, let's take a gander, shall we? We open with Dipper, Mabel, Wendy, and Wendy's friends, who are so forgettable I can barely remember their names, gazing at clouds at a graveyard. Because for some reason they don't recall what happened the last time they screwed with the dead. Twice.
I'm a hot dog!
Welcome.
Oh no! Help!
Well, so much for lesson learned. In that time, an indie music festival is making its way to town, but then the gang hears a mysterious wail from one of the graves nearby, which turns out to be probably the lamest build-up from a cut-to intro I've ever seen.
Gaze upon death! Gaze upon death!
A few moments later.
That was worth screaming over? What seemed like probably another zombie or a ghost or something exciting. It's just Robbie. Get it? Because he thinks he's dead inside and totally worth taking seriously? For some reason, this episode really comes to think so irony's out the window, I guess. Still moping ever since Wendy dumped him for, well, you know, the lying, the rudeness, the allegations, the violence, but enough about his voice actor. And being a terrible boyfriend in general. Since he's killing the mood, the gang leaves, but Mabel can't bring herself to see even a jerk like him so unhappy. Unlike her rival, her psychotic admirer, a horde of gnomes, or pretty much anyone that's ever tried to hurt her or her family. Which should include him. Wait, what?
So I am confusion.
Yeah, even for someone as cheerful as her, this really isn't in character at all. Other than Dipper and Wendy, she of all people should be resenting him as well. But screw it. As long as everyone's on good terms in time for the Zodiac prophecy. Which they don't end up using anyways.
Oh, come on!
After glossing over the whole wannabe goth shtick, which, to be fair, the writing did make me laugh at least once.
Just eat me already, man. I was just being dramatic. Quit it out!
Mabel takes initiative by going to his house, and as it turns out, his upbringing is... yeah, I'm not entirely sure what to make of it.
Howdy do!
Happy day! You're Robbie's parents? I always thought he was like raised by sad wolves or something.
So you're doom and gloom, pretentious, and you hate your cheerful parents. Okay, take it down a notch, Sam Manson.
Ouch.
On one hand, they do make fun of the trope well enough, but on the other, I can't fully take it as satire when the characters keep trying to humor it so mercifully, especially in this particular context. Because sure, Mabel will antagonize, say, Gideon on the spot when he tries to hurt her brother, but when a poser twice his height tried the same thing, he's just a misunderstood soul, right? Maybe that's where the Owl House got the idea for this stupid line.
The only thing I've ever really wanted was to be understood.
Oh, brother!
But hey, as long as there's a matchmaking opportunity for Mabel, which is apparently her thing now after just one success? A success which she didn't contribute much to anyways? There's a fine line between writing kid-like behavior and bad writing pretending to be just that. This is definitely the latter. It's contrived, it's inconsistent, and it's not even that funny to compensate. It just makes Mabel seem less like a supportive friend like in Seuss's case, and more like a love-crazed sociopath in training. And halfway into season 2, she's definitely at that point where she would already know better. But I'll keep an open mind. For now. She tries to help Robbie move on from Wendy by setting him up with, well, let's be real, pretty much the only reason the character in question exists. Am I wrong? Seriously, were it not for this episode, you could cut Tambry out of the whole show and virtually nothing would really change. Kinda like someone else I know. No, not this time. Heck, she's so expendable, some shots from the last time we saw her actually do just that. In the meantime, though, Mabel conveniently comes across the titular character.
My God! Sign my face!
Only if you sign mine, baby. Let's get weird!
Something about this character just really rubs me the wrong way. Oh, that's why. You really can't draw the line anywhere with the supernatural in this town, and by extension this series, but that's part of its charm. We have gnomes, ghosts, zombies, candy monsters, living wax figures, demons in all but name, and now actual cherubs. And yet somehow this show's creator thinks Grunkle Stan would draw the line at God. Yeah, sure thing, bro. Speaking of Stan though, he's not too thrilled that a literal hippie festival is in town. Until he sees a chance to market to them by building a hot air balloon, I guess. I'm gonna be honest, this subplot only has 2 scenes. You could easily skip over it and not miss much, if it weren't for the second scene, which we'll get to later. Meanwhile, and to the surprise of no one, Robbie and Tambry don't hit it off. So Mabel uses a potion she just stole and, well, it's a love potion trope. It goes about how you would expect. As if it wasn't questionable as is. Mabel's mission is a very unethical success, but she brags about it to her friends anyways. Resulting in the second dumbest scene in the episode. Yeah, I said second. It gets worse.
Wait, Robbie and Tambry? I knew I liked her.
Since when?
Hey, don't wait up, Tambers.
Don't call me Tambers.
Classic Tambers.
That's all you need, I guess.
Whoa, hold it. You like Tambry? And you told Robbie, but not me?
Even for teenagers, how is that an issue worth arguing over?
Oh, this is so like Tambry to do this. Date my ex behind my back.
Since when do you care? You hardly even like Robbie as a person anymore, and you're the one that told him to move on. But now it bothers you that he's with someone else? I'm guessing the idea is that she's just jealous, but that's not really in character for Wendy at all. Maybe she never believed Tambry could be so sneaky, but it's not like we know enough about the latter anyways.
The inner machinations of my mind are an enigma.
Aside from Wendy and other episodes, these characters lean so much into parody to where any sense of real personality is hardly there. But somehow, we're still expected to take them seriously at the best of times, even when the writing is too negligent to support it. Case in point, what's going on with Thompson? Yep, still a punching bag with zero nuance. The gang bitterly splits up, and they all refuse to go to the festival out of pettiness. So Dipper and Mabel try to see if there's an anti-love potion to undo this whole mess. And they'd be right. Wait, what were they doing in that van?
Let's make some miracles happen. Groupies, bedhead me.
In times like these, I have to remind myself that this is a Disney show. Make of that what you will. The cherub catches up to them and messes with Mabel's head to get the potion back. And you might be thinking, maybe it's time to address Mabel's obsession with dating, crushes, and matchmaking? Or allude to Dipper still hung up on Wendy like we learn later? Neither happens. Aside from some brief narcissist redundancy in the finale's credits, this is the last time Mabel's romantic tendencies get addressed directly ever again. Because God forbid your character arc amount to something meaningful and compelling instead of a glorified ego stroke for the writers. I'm not gonna lie, I was really close to throwing the towel with this episode, were it not for Stan's subplot of all things. Some would say that it salvages what little good grace this episode has left. His cheap balloon takes flight, and well, I don't think explaining it will do it justice. Just watch.
All right, let her rip.
Oh no, a letter rip!
What the H?
I eat kids, but we're kids.
It's heaven's punishment for our terrible taste in everything!
Mommy, is the floating head going to eat us?
Yes, Charlie! Yes, he will!
See, this is the kind of circumstance where you can get away with kids being unrealistically stupid. These few seconds alone single-handedly carry an otherwise awful episode. But is that really enough to save it? Because I must gently remind you all that the episode's not over yet. After being conveniently smothered by Stan's balloon, the cherub gives up and lets Mabel have the potion. She's about to use it, but then she sees how happy Robbie and Tambry have been. Totally of their own accord, by the way. Definitely no brainwashing involved. As far as she knew at the time, we'll get to that later. For now, let's talk about what I hinted at earlier. The dumbest moment in the episode.
Dipper, maybe we shouldn't do this. I mean, every time we've played with people's fates, it's only made things worse.
They are kind of perfect for each other in a gross kind of way.
I know I've used this line before, but...
Is this some kind of twisted joke?
Are you kidding me? Messing with fate is what caused this whole mess in the first place. It's what you're trying to undo here, you idiot! What, are they insinuating that they were just bound to get together eventually anyways? What type of Bumblebee Zutara delusional nonsense is this? Not to mention, your friends still hate each other because of this. Not that even that made much sense to begin with. And how does it all get patched up? With Thompson being a piñata again. As if that didn't get old the first 20 times. And a bunch of smiles that honestly don't get anything real across. You know how they say less is more? Well, I'd say less is nothing here. One quick glance and suddenly Wendy's cool with her friend and Rex dating? Nate's cool with Robbie dating his supposed crush? Which the latter supposedly knew about, by the way? And whatever the heck Lee was mad about is all good now? Oh, and when did they bother mentioning any of this to Robbie and Tambry? That's the neat thing. They don't. None of this conflict makes any sense from start to finish. Everything's okay now just for the sake of everything being okay. It's just Thompson getting beat up again. That's funny, right guys? That totally distracts well enough from our oh so compelling problems. Apparently they were meant to be anyway, so it's all good because love is love or something. Seriously, the messaging is so scuffed. This is the only takeaway I can get out of this. I'm sure Robbie won't treat her any worse than he did Wendy, right? I'm sure this whole cycle of stupidity and trivialities wouldn't realistically repeat itself given all of his amazing character. Sheesh, I know romance isn't this show's strong suit, and it really shows later on, but yikes. I would think that maybe it's easy for them to let this all go since they're all teenagers and maybe they realize it wasn't worth taking that seriously. But again, these characters are portrayed so satirically so often, and when they aren't, it's not set up properly at all. But they're just kids, right? They're allowed to be unapologetically stupid and shallow with no logic, nuance, or consistency in the writing, right? So yeah, if you've seen the previous review, hopefully you understand why I dislike this episode so much more than anyone ever did Roadside Attraction. While that did have its issues with continuity and progression, at least it didn't slap it all in the face for a bunch of characters who were hardly even characters to begin with. Most of the jokes don't land, it borrows from tropes that were fundamentally flawed to start, It's subversive just for the sake of being subversive, which ironically made said tropes even worse. It conflates plausible stupidity with lazy writing, the conflict is forced as a result, it misrepresents a character with enough misconceptions as is. Yeah, forget the bubble. If you want to rag on Mabel, look no further than this episode. It tries too hard to redeem someone that didn't need it, the messaging is awful, and all in all, there's simply little to no good qualities in it overall. Especially compared to, well, virtually every other episode. At least Roadside Attraction kept me entertained all the way through, and most motivations checked out. I said most. In contrast, everything here is contrived, redundant, uninspired, or just a step backwards for the characters. And I don't think a few seconds of peak comedy in the span of 22 minutes and some off-screen retcon is enough for me to consider it a good episode. Especially when the latter could have easily been woven into the script instead. It really makes you wonder if the writers cared more about some sort of agenda with its messaging and presentation, rather than the functionality of the story at the time. But that's crazy talk, right? It's not like they had other priorities, like an awkward crossbreed marriage, a dull song to go with it in the credits, parroting a festival known for its promiscuity, and a kids show, mind you. Arguing with Disney over gay grandmas and symbols that Hirsch insisted on, but Disney said no. I'm not trying to be crass here, that's what actually happened. Or giving the lead a rainbow sweater for even more gratuitous symbolism that adds nothing to the story. Nah, I'm sure Hirsch and the other writers were totally in the right headspace.